Kiss 107.1 is WTLC Saginaw with Steve Harvey in the morning.
Mornings can't get no better. It's the Steve Harvey Morning Show.
It's simply the best R&B all day.
Y'all be jamming?
Listen live on your smartphone, in your car, at work, or live at KissWTLZ.com. We're Kiss 107.1. Broadcasting live from the Kiss Gower Law Studios. Get the power of Gower. GowerLaw.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. I'm so glad to have you in the stream with us today, or those of you listening to us on the FM dial on Kiss 107.1 FM. We certainly thank you each week for tuning in and making this your number one show where you come in and we have some real conversations where we give it to you straight, no chaser, no filter, talking to you about what is going on, getting to the heart of the matter, talking about the issues from Wall Street to Main Street where it impacts your everyday life. We have also in the studio with us my producer, Matthew, a.k.a. White Soul. Matt, what's good?
What up, though? How are you doing this weekend?
I am good. So much is going on, so much to talk about, so we're not going to waste much time dilly-dallying around. I want to give a shout-out to everybody who is out there as you are coming in. I see some of you out there in the social media stream. You haven't populated in mine yet, but I see you in the stream. Let's like, tag, and share this conversation with those around you. Once again, I just want to say thank you. The way we start to show out each week is we talk about what's on my mind. And so I want to take a minute and just talk about what is on my mind. The number one thing that everyone in the city of Saginaw should be thinking about, those things that are very important and pertinent to the village. Because many of us didn't have real insight to the other things that were going on, but we're going to talk about it just a little bit. But the thing that's at the top of my mind today is the loss of our beloved mayor of Saginaw, not our current mayor, but the first Black female mayor of the city of Saginaw. I'm talking about no one other than Mayor Wilmer Jones Ham McZee. Rest in power, Queen. We certainly thank you because you put on for the city. You put on for your city, and we thank you for your life, your legacy, and the treasure that you are to this great city. You were, whenever I think about you, I think our soul children. I think about scholarship funds. I think awards that celebrated everybody and everything in the city of Saginaw. I think about the song, Everything That's Good That Happened to Me, God Did It. Knowing that you were going to start your remarks from the pew, making your way from the pew to the podium, starting by singing and entertaining and ministering before getting up and sharing words of comfort or care or just importance wherever you were. You were a woman that the community, and as I heard Terry Pruitt say a little bit earlier on the show previous to mine, you were one of those people who were a trailblazer for women in our community, whether it be education, whether it be for political endeavors, or however you were involved. You were a trailblazer. I think about Sugar Pie, Baby, Dumpling, Sweetheart. She was a honey dripper that loved people, and she made everybody feel like somebody. We certainly thank you and salute you, and we pray that you rest in power. Now, I'm going to do the same thing that I heard on the show previous to mine. We're going to have a moment of silence for those who are out there, just a brief moment of silence for the life and legacy of such an amazing woman who loved her church, who was an amazing mother, who was a community leader, who was a trailblazer, who was an educator, all of those amazing things. So just a quick moment of silence for our late mayor. All right, there. One of the things that they hate in radio is dead air. That was not dead air. That was purposeful air. But I want to just read a little bit about our wonderful mayor. I think she deserves that in honoring her. Wilmer McZ was sworn in on November 12th, 2001 as Saginaw's first female African-American mayor after having served on the Saginaw City Council February 1994. Mrs. Ham is a devoted member of Tabernacle Missional Baptist Church. She was, where she served as the minister of music. Everybody knew her as a singer and a musician. A graduate of Saginaw Public Schools, Delta College, an associate degree in arts, went to Saginaw Valley State University and received a bachelor's degree in education and a master's degree in supervision and administration. She worked for SPS, Saginaw Public Schools, as a teacher from 1980 to 2007. She was also on a number of boards, including the Boys and Girls Club, Sigma, St. John Trinity, MBS International Airport, MER's Pension Board, Police and Fire Pension Boards, Downtown Development Authority, and was a 2004 honorary chair of the Habitat for Humanity. She also was a past board member of the RCO and New Perspectives. She's the founder of the Saginaw Soul Children, the Mayor's Ball and Scholarship Foundation, Saginaw Interdenominational Ministry, Saginaw International Mahogany Models, Women and Men in Praise, and 100 Voices Boys Choir. Her other affiliations included those with the NAACP, since 1957, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Jones Ham is the mother of 3 beautiful children. We know them, Durrani, DeToya, and Darvin, and a grandmother. Her funeral services will take place on Friday, September 19th at 12 o'clock at the Dow Event Center in the Heritage Theater, 303 North Johnson Street, Saginaw, Michigan. Dr. Byron Hayes will officiate. Visitation will take place at Word of Faith International Ministries, 500 North Washington Avenue, Saginaw, Michigan, Thursday, September 18th from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m. So we want to make sure that the entire city, the entire Great Lakes Bay region, this entire community, we've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Some people may say, well, she was the first Black mayor, but she was that for our history, the entire Saginaw County community, Great Lakes Bay region. This is a part of your history. And in some ways, she has improved, impacted, or made a difference in your life. So we want to show out. We want to make this a place where her family will see how much love and support she will receive. We want this to be standing room only. I have nothing to do with this. Simply the fact that I appreciate the road that she passed, the fact that I'm on this radio is partially because of trailblazers like herself. So thank you very much. Let's turn out. Let's show love to this family. Send flowers, cards, gifts, and all of those things. Somebody say, well, her son is in the NBA. That doesn't matter. Sometimes people want to count what's in your pocket, but that should never matter, because no one should be concerned about how much something costs or who has what in this moment. It is about showing your appreciation for the life and the contribution that the individual made. And I thank you very, very much. All right. So that is that. The next thing I got to give a shout out here. Always Ben Smith is out there. Thank you always for showing love, Pastor A. I'm about my people. Ben, thank you for getting the word out. I don't know how, but you always seem with the inside scoop. Wink, wink. Thank you for everything that you're doing in the community. My eyes are on you. I see you, brother. You will see me real soon. Thank you very much to Reese Steele Phillips for coming in. I certainly thank you. Looking very dapper. I appreciate it. Trying to do my best. To all of you out there, we certainly thank you. The next thing that's on my mind, I got to give a shout out. Bishop Hurley Coleman Jr., my man TJ Coleman, that's my brother, and all of the members of World Outreach Campus on yesterday's community giveaway, along with Impact. We certainly thank you, Impact SVSU, out at Saginaw Valley State University campus. Amazing outpouring of events, of giving, of love, of community support, of being the hands and feet of Christ shown on yesterday. I was so proud that I was a part of what was taking place. Absolutely amazing. An Amazon truck filled with all kinds of good. I need to let y'all understand, man. I know many of you saw the video that I put out there. Many people came to me and was like, "You're the man that publicized this on the video," and I really did because I thought this was amazing, and I wanted as many of us to take advantage and be able to be blessed by what we saw on yesterday, and it was phenomenal. Kudos, kudos, kudos. There was a night of worship. This is a whole weekend of events for World Outreach. Night of worship on Friday, community giveaway on Saturday, Founders Day service, and mortgage burning service on today. I'm always glad when churches are able to burn their mortgages because then they're really able to make a community impact. They're no longer tired of having to continually worry about how the bill is going to get paid. But once that is done, they now have additional dollars for additional community impact. And I just want to say thank you for the invitation to me. I said, hey, this is great. This is exactly what Impact SBSU is about. Out there on Saginaw Valley State University's campus, you guys have been watching, you've been seeing the videos of us packing out rooms and auditoriums on campus at SBSU. That is such an amazing work of God. I cannot take credit for it. As a matter of fact, we are now at a place I've trained leaders to be able to effectuate and do things the way that God would have them to do in the spirit of excellence. So shout out to Frank Sanders and Katrina Sanders and Kevin Finley and Destiny Finley and all of those other leaders and those student leaders, Alicia Fields and Ryan Mixer and all of those young people who I've been able to turn over the reins of that work. This is the second week. The second week, there were 125 students. The place only seats 91 students, but these young people are excited to know more about faith. It is not about religion. We teach the facts, the word of God. We inspire them to become the hands and feet of Christ. So if you're out there today and you all are there and you say, hey, we need volunteers. We need young people who will be volunteers to make an impact. These young people at SVSU are looking for opportunities to show their service in this community, to get involved, to activate their faith. And so please reach out and extend an invitation so that we can support. We would love to be in collaboration with a work that is going to benefit and impact and empower our community. So we're so thankful for that. We're going to get to our main conversation on today. And if my producer will allow me, we're going to take an early commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the main topic for today. So y'all get your families in here, put them in the chat, because I think it's important. I want to talk about what Black America, what the village must be concerned about with all of the conversation, with all of the rhetoric that's taking place. I want to talk about selective outrage and performative empathy have exposed the real strategy at hand. I'm not talking about right. I'm not talking about left. I'm not talking about liberals. I'm not talking about moderates. I'm talking about what is the strategy that is devised against Black America. God says something powerful, that he would never do anything in the earth without first revealing it to his prophets, those people who hear from God. So the enemy has exposed exactly what the agenda is. I've been saying it for a while. We're going to talk about it. Not only we're going to talk about it, about that specifically, but we're also going to say, what should we as a community be doing? Shout out to State Representative Amos O'Neill, who was here with us on last week. If you did not see that show, go back and watch it. But we're going to talk about strategies. What do we have to do now that the strategy of those who really don't care for us or don't like us and wish we would leave, but we ain't going nowhere, have shown us what their real agenda is? How do we respond? We're not going to get involved with the fight because this ain't our battle. We'll talk about it. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more Straight Talk.
You're listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1.
Mid-Michigan. It's the season of sweaters, spice, and cars that are nice. Ryan Wasik here from Bell-Wasik GMC Buick, your only local Buick dealer and home with a lifetime warranty. And this month, I've brewed up the perfect blend of savings and selection. And you can save up to $3,000 based on the price of the nicer, newer car you pick. So if your old ride's got you stewing and brewing, let's spice things up with a deal that's too hot to handle. Because you deserve to cruise around town in a car that you love and you saved a latte on. you could save up to $3,000. Here at Bell-Wassick GMC Buick, we're all about acceptance and affordability. My solution specialists serve up hot approvals and spicy deals. They'll help you drive a nicer, newer car you love with a monthly payment that won't shake your leaves this fall. So spice up your commute and save a latte in the process, up to $3,000, based on the nicer, newer car you pick. But hurry, this deal's only brewing until the end of the month. I'm Ryan Wassick, and I'm your dealer for the people. See all the fresh brewed rides at RyanApproved.com. That's RyanApproved.com.
Credit requires bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Vehicle purchase price determines actual discount. Offer absolutely ends September 30th, 2025.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GARAGE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GARAGE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GARAGE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's the sound of someone who's misplaced
my debit card.
Their debit card.
Where'd I leave that thing?
Not at the gas pump, or the checkout counter, or the roof of your car. Now, if he has the Chase mobile app, he can use Card Lock.
Wait, I could just lock my card.
Yep, just a few tippy taps on his phone, and that sound, that's peace of mind from Chase.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-624-8811. 800-624-8811. 800-624-8811.
Why is Macy's one-day sale the one sale you can't miss? For starters, you'll find our best prices of the month on fall's top trends, like $99.99 for trenches and barn jackets, diamond bracelets $249, and for cozy nights in, comfy sheets at $19.99 and under. Plus, it's Star Money bonus days, when Star Rewards members can earn Star Money faster. Not a member yet? Join for free online or in-store. Don't miss Macy's one-day sale today. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
It's Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1.
All right, you're back with more Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. Certainly thank you guys for continually listening in, all of you that are out there in the social media stream. So today, we're going to talk about selective outrage and performative empathy and how they have exposed the strategy of so many people in this nation. And what I'm going to talk about is, I want to say this first, and you've been hearing this over and the only reason I'm giving voice to this is because I need to lay this groundwork down so that I can explain to you what I mean by our show's topic. So everyone, unless you were under a rock or you were out of the country, and I think that people all around the world have been made aware of what's going on because of the repercussions and really the stance in which everything has taken place. So Charlie Kirk, he's not a politician, but he's a political activist, which is probably the best way to define him. He's been around for a number of years. A young man, only about 31 years old, but he's been on the circuit. I don't remember at the time I can't remember the name, Turning Point. I think is the name of the organization. He's a part of an organization that is a very right-wing organization that is fully embraced the idea and the concept of Project 2025. He was murdered while he was speaking at one of the universities in Utah, Utah Valley University, as a matter of fact. They're giving a speech, and we mourn the loss of anyone who dies in America. I mean, that gun violence is never something that is acceptable. I speak about us needing to have some common sense gun legislation. He was not one of those individuals who believed in it. But now we're seeing and we're having to deal as a nation, well, some of us are, what this means to America. We have seen what I would consider almost the attempt at martyrdom for this young man. We've seen a response from the president. He's one of his allies, proponents, supposedly, and his response to his demise. Now, as I said, murder is never acceptable in any form that it comes in. We do have individuals who say, and he was, individuals of his camp, I'll say his sphere. I won't tie them directly to him, but people in his sphere are proponents, of guns and saying that certain people should be killed. I don't think that murder by any way is ever acceptable in this great nation. I'll say that first. However, I'm going to, and no, not however, and I will continue to say that it is important for us to be aware of where we are in this nation. And I'm speaking to folks in Black America, and be very specific about what I'm saying right now. This is the time for us to be more politically astute. Many of us say, I don't get into politics. I'm not a political person. I don't do politics. I get it. But this ain't that time. That time was for a season. I would have wished that everyone was always involved and, managed their civic responsibility. But this is not the time for you not to understand what's going on. There is too much at stake. Okay, so Charlie was murdered in Utah by a young man by the name of Tyler Robinson. He was not a Black man. He was not an Asian man. He was not a transgender man. He was, if I get this right, he was a heterosexual. I don't know if it's a heterosexual white male who at one point had been, I think, slated on the Republican ticket. And this is who it was. He lived in Utah. And there was a clip out there, and I just want to make sure that we clear. There was a clip that they keep snipping out where I think the governor of the state or the state rep says, I was hoping for about 33 minutes that this man was not one of us. When he was saying that, what I took from that was he was saying was not a Utahan or whatever they call themselves in Utah. Not that he was not a white person, but that he wasn't a person who was from Utah, that he was not a person that was a part of the fabric of Utah. But as he said, it turned out very different. People need to get into politics. You're absolutely right, Mr. Jimmy, because politics will certainly get into them. If it don't get into you, it's going to get on you. So there's two ways, get into or get on. But it's very important for us to take a look at this. And so in my opinion, and this is my opinion, and, there have been this thing like he's not a racist. He was with Candace Owens. Many people pause at Candace Owens, even though she speaks many of the truths. And I want to take a real cautious pause on what I want to say here. I believe, my personal belief, and I don't know if racist is the right term, but white supremacist is probably a better term for him. making statements that, Michelle Obama and others have said. Kenchinji Jackson Brown said, hey, Brown Jackson, we would not be here if not for affirmative action. And he took it a step further and said, you're absolutely white because together you all are not smart enough to hold the positions or to take the positions that white people should have. I don't know what to call that. He's not in a power to do anything in that particular situation. But it is the philosophy that if anyone that comes in a DEI hire is unqualified, is a very white supremacist attitude. So if you were wondering what the definition is, my definition, that's exactly what it is. That white is right and that black could never, or anything else could never make the attendance. So that's what they're talking about. But what is problematic here is that the response to the death of white on white crime is the response that black universities and colleges, HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, for those of you who don't understand what that means, were receiving threats and had to close doors. This gives us an indication, and this is what I mean, because there are many people who didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was. I knew who he was because I try to stay informed and aware of what's going on, because I want to make sure that I'm delivering the meat and the facts to you all here. Most people didn't know who he was. Most people didn't have an idea of what his conversations were really about. Some people may say one TikTok version, that he loves God and he stands for this, and man and woman is what God made when he made a family. Like, oh, he's a Christian man. But one of the tenets of my faith as a believer, and this is why I say I've struggled since 2020 with many white evangelicals, is because there is a different narrative, because we move from faith to white Christian nationalism, and that is a very different thing. And so when I look at this, the thing that comes to mind, and I want us to understand this, is that if you love God, then that means that you have to love God's people. When we look at the word, God's word also says that we are to love one another as we love ourselves. We are to prefer the others over ourselves. The Bible talks more about social justice than it ever does about anything else. It talks about loving your neighbor. It talks about taking care of those who the least of us, not put it to them and taking them out. So that is why I believe, in my opinion, that he is a white supremacist. And there's nothing that you can say or do about that. Now, this is the thing that I want Black America to understand, because I saw a lot of folks that I know like, oh man, he's a man of God. It's such a sad thing. And and having that sense of needing to be performative empathetically for white on white crime. And I'll say this, like they say about black on black crime, it's horrible, it's bad, we got to do something about it. This was in fact white on white crime. It is bad. They need to do something about it. This has nothing to do with Black America. It has everything to do with the philosophy that we have in America, that we do not need boundaries and common sense gun legislation. I am a gun owner. I'll say that every single time. I grew up hunting and using guns. I love them all. I love using them. However, I do believe that there is a need for greater checks and some common sense legislation. With that being said, I'm going to continue to say this. It's important to understand, because America wants Black America and brown and everybody else to be empathetic for a man that, for the most part, we could really not care about. And people say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you didn't say you don't care about him. But I'm saying that we don't care about him much in the way he's not in our purview. He's not in our community. He says things that are disdainful. He says things that are downright negative. But I say that we don't care about him, not in the fact that we don't care that he died, or that we don't care that he was shot and that it was heinous. My heart goes out really for his kids and his wife who have to suffer through that, because I think that our kids in general across the spectrum, regardless of color, see too much violence. We see too much as it relates to gun violence. And so I am very empathetic and my heart goes out. I have a friend who said, hey, Kareem, this is one of my dear friends, and it hurts me when you talk to him. And I said, well, my intention is never to hurt you, but I need you also to be empathetic to the fact that Black America has a right not to care or be concerned. And what I mean by that, not caring or being concerned, not the fact of the loss of the death, but the fact that we are unbothered in many respects to his passing, as white America has been for decades. And I'm not talking about just the strange fruit and the fact that they would bring kids to lynching and allow kids and celebrate the fact that a Black man. I'm not talking about that. I'm not even going back that far. I'm going more recent. The same way there was a lack of empathy for Trayvon Martin and Eric Gardner and Tamir Rice and Michael Brown and Walter Scott and Philando Castile and Breonna Taylor, say her name, Taylor, Sandra Bland, Ahmaud Arbery, and even George Floyd. We can go on forever. And so I'm not angry. I'm not mad. I'm nothing. I am really uninvolved. I'm not concerned about this because I think that this is something that does not involve me. Thank you very much, Rodney Elledge. I certainly appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for your listenership. My ignorance is impressive. You're the poster child for being prejudiced. And it's unfortunate that we can have selective outrage. And this is what I'm saying. If we are going to be outraged by the loss of life of Mr. Kirk, we have to have the same type of outrage for the loss of life for the children at Sandy Hook. They are not receiving Congressional Medal of Honors. Mr. Kirk was employed by an organization that does not make money, but what they do is they spend billions of dollars every year having a whole team to push narratives. And those narratives are dangerous. And his life, unfortunately, was taken by individuals who buy into these narratives that unchecked guns are okay in America. And I'm sorry that you feel that, Mr. Rodney, but as I said before, you're entitled to your opinion. What we will not do is make this a Black issue. This is not about Black America. This is about us making sure that we understand that violence in America is a bad situation. And it's about us letting them have this moment. Now, I do want to talk about what's important for Black America in this moment. Because I said this once before when we saw the outrage with ICE. I said, this is not our fight. We've got to stand down. And I agree with you, Mr. Jimmy. He said, hey, my empathy was directed at the senseless murder, not the murdered. The separation is possible. And I agree with you, Mr. Jim. You're the one who gives me the image of yourself. I'm not understanding exactly what that means, but God bless you as well. But what we're talking about is this. So as we look at this, when there was the attack on ICE out in California and other places, and I haven't even gotten to talk about how the Supreme Court plays a role in this. And I'm not saying Black people rise up. No, I'm saying Black people stand down. I'm saying Black people open up your history book. I'm saying Black people get in your community and have conversations about what we must do as a community. I'm talking about having conversations of how we don't allow ourselves to be polarized in this moment, that we use our voice introspectively. And this is what I mean, where we're not being consumed or drug into conversations and battles that don't involve us. But then we begin to look, what is the power of the Black dollar? What collectively can we do as a Black people? Because there has been a collaborative assault on our rights, on our freedoms, on where we are to go. And we see even now, I often say, and I've said this a long time ago, that the racism is not in a white hood. That's not what it's looking like, even though they're doing those types of revival. But the racism is in the policy. So Black folks, we have to make sure that we return to a 60 fervorish kind of mood as it relates to being involved with the politics of the moment. That we understand that the things that are going on, as we were looking at what ICE was doing initially, many people thought the Blacks were going to rush because they're going out there and immigrate. We believe in strong borders, so we support strong borders. What we don't support is when illegal immigrants or folks in general of any kind, because this is America. I think that we are a highly civilized people. We will not agree with the fact that anybody be abused, that their civil liberties be abused, that we do not have this thing called due process, which is essential to the fabric of our nation. And so these things are very important. And so when we look at these things, and I saw that take place, and we moved from there, then it was documented immigrants who were not problematic in the nation, who play ties and do all of those things that were now being showcased. Now we have a move, and this is what I'm talking about. We now have a movement by policy. And this is where you really need to pay attention. Policy now says, according to the Supreme Court's ruling on last week, that we can use definers such as race, language, and ethnicities as reasons to engage. And this is a problem. It's a problem because it takes us back to many of the black codes of Jim Crow. It takes us back to those old thoughts of stop and frisk that we saw taking place in New York City. One of the reasons, and when we talk about violence, they say, hey, black people, I think it was Mr. Charlie who said that black folks are more violent than any other nation. And black violence against white people is they do it anytime they get an opportunity. That's not true. We commit violence against people that we're around. So that's where we come with the idea of black on black crime or white on white crime. But what's we must take a look at here is when we look at this, is that when we look at the incidence and occurrence of why black men and black women and black children, they are reported for violence, is because we have a greater incidence of our engagement with law enforcement. And this is, if you look at him, the number of cases, if we look at who's the most violent, if we look at, I'm here, Rodney Elledge is on here, coming into a space where I'm having a conversation with, the village. And I certainly welcome your opinion, but I've not once called anyone a name because it's not in how we respond. I am a professional. When we respond with integrity. And we have done that for a long time as a community. My responses continue to be as those great leaders who have been a part of our great fiber have done, that we stay focused, that we stay resolved. Violence is not the issue, because I think that when we get drawn into a fight on violence and it appears that there is a fight that someone is trying to create a narrative that we are involved that does not involve us. So this is what we must do, get involved with what's taking place. The Supreme Court has now justified racial profiling and has given many ICE agents, and these ICE agents are showing up, some of them gun, many of them masked, if they are ICE. And, I think that this is a time for us to be very aware, to be very astute, to be at our most, how shall I say it, be on alert of what's taking place, to know your rights, to know what's taking place in your community, and to understand that everybody that's running around pulling people out, do I think and do I have pause? And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but are some of these individuals maybe individuals who are not employed by ICE, but because they're not showing data? These are all things that are problematic. And this is where we as a people should say, and we should demand from those who represent us, both locally and via state and via the nation. I thank God for many of the officers and county sheriffs who says we're not going to take a party to these ICE raids, but we have to demand that if an ICE official is going to show up in our community, that they show their identification, that they do in fact work for ICE, that there is a badge number, as a law enforcement officer would do. He would show his badge and say, this is who I am, because it's problematic. Especially, let me tell you why it's problematic, because we have a situation now. I got a call from a mother, and I thought I brought in his information on today, but we're going to showcase them on this show. She has a young African-American male who has disappeared. He's been gone since May. Nobody knows where he are. We have hundreds of Black young women and mature women who are disappearing, and nobody knows where they are. These are not being big specials. They're not on CNN. We're not seeing them on CBS. We're not seeing specials about these individuals, but there are hundreds of Black individuals, women and young boys and men, that are disappearing and no one knows where they are. It's problematic when I see ICE officials pulling people out. Understanding that they can do this now based upon a race is a serious problem. So when we look at this, I want us to understand something. I was on the horn and I was blowing the horn leading into this past election. Many of us were. Terry Pruitt, president of the NAACP, was on the hour before, and he was saying we tried to get the word out. We did everything that we could to empower our community with the understanding that Project 2025 is a real thing. Many of you who thought that this was going to be about the cost of eggs and the cost of bread and, really doing something and dealing with the issues of DEI, to me now, and some of my Republican friends are now telling me, I didn't believe it at first, but Kareem, I understand. It's impossible to understand that the attack on DEI is really about the destroying of the infrastructure of Black wealth, of the Black existence, of what takes place, all of those things. And so when we look at it now, Project 2025 has been in place for 327 days. Now, let me explain what I'm saying. The entails, the implementation, this administration has been in effect for 327 days and about 20 hours about right now. And in 327 days and about 20 hours, about 47% of the agenda that is tied to Project 2025 has been implemented in our U.S. government. I think that it's very important for us to understand what this means. When we have our president, when asked about it, he says, I don't know. I haven't read it. That's what it was. And I believe it. Because I don't believe that he did read it. I believe that people were sharing the information with him. So he did not lie. He probably didn't read it. I can see that he probably does not read a lot, but I do believe that he was aware of what's going on. Now, if it only took 327 days and 20 hours for 47% of this to be implemented, there is something else that is on the horizon, Project 2030. And Black America, Brown America, everyone who is not a middle-aged white male or white male of any particular cause, who has a particular fear about their existence or their loss of power here in this country. And when I say this, let me understand, civil rights was only powerful because we had whites who understood the importance of creating spaces of diversity and equity for all people. So when I say this, I by no means am not speaking, my dear light-skinned brother, white brother, sister, if you understand what is at place and you understand that you are a part of the solution, then I'm not talking to you. So I'm not saying all white people, I'm not creating a one single strong brush coloring everyone, but I am saying that there is a very large contingency, and we see this across the nation, of white men and white people who feel threatened. And I've said this before, I understand how you feel in this particular situation. I can empathize with how you may look at this and say they're taking away this from me. But I'm going to say this, and I want to be very clear about me saying this. One of the reasons why there has been more Blacks in public spaces, one of the reasons there has been an increase of African Americans who are CEOs and African Americans who have powerful positions is not because of DEI. It's because the knee on the neck of us as it relates to our stance in education was finally removed to some degree where we could be educated. Think about it. Everything that we created, all of the inventions, and Donald Trump named those inventions best. There's a TikTok out where he's talking about, Americans created everything. We created everything. And all of the inventions that he talked about were inventions that were created by African Americans. Thank you, Mr. Trump, President Trump. We appreciate that for recognizing our contribution to this great nation. But what I'm saying is that we weren't allowed to be educated. So everything that we did before we dealt with those issues of Brown, versus the Board of Education and all of these other things were things that we did simply because we are people who are bright, who are intelligent, who are resilient. That doesn't mean that anyone else is not. This is not, because I am pro-Black does not mean I'm anti-white. That is not the case. What I am saying is that I am Black and I am proud, and I will say it out loud. I understand that as a people, when we work together, there is nothing that we cannot do. I think that it's important for us to understand in this season the power of representation, the power of a united voice, the power of media. Because I'm going to tell you, Mr. Kirk worked for a company, and their only responsibility, or the only thing that they manufactured, they didn't sell goods, they didn't sell any of those things. Someone said that he had a net wealth of $12 million. No college education, but he dropped out of school, but he still was able to amass $12 million. How did he do that? By the power of his voice. And so now it's important for us to understand that when we talk collectively about having a unified voice, when we talk in our conversations about the power of the media, the power of the mic, the power of the lens, the stories that we tell, the stories that we embrace, they are very important for us in this moment to come in together and say, what is it that we're going to do collectively? And collectively, I'm going to do this continually. I always ignore ignorance. I empower those who have a voice of change. I say that it's time for us to stop dealing with the dismemberment of our community by ineffective beef, things that don't matter. We've got to come together. Representative O'Neill came and he said, it's time for us to look at how do we bring together and center and bring and unify the Black dollar in our community. We have the ability to make effective change. We are the biggest consumers on this planet. Everyone gets rich off the Black dollar. It's time for us to focus on building millionaires and building schools and building grocery stores off of the dollars that we invest in our community. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with the remainder of Straight Talk.
You're listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1.
Mid-Michigan. It's the season of sweaters, spice, and cars that are nice. Ryan Wasik here from Bell-Wasik GMC Buick, your only local Buick dealer and home of the lifetime warranty. And this month, I've brewed up the perfect blend of savings and selection. And you can save up to $3,000 based on the price of the nicer, newer car you pick. So if your old ride's got you stewing and brewing, let's spice things up with a deal that's too hot to handle. Because you deserve to cruise around town in a car that you love and you saved a latte on. You could save up to $3,000. Here at Bell-Wasik GMC Buick, we're all about acceptance and affordability. My solution specialists serve up hot approvals and spicy deals. They'll help you drive a nicer, newer car you love with a monthly payment that won't shake your leaves this fall. So spice up your commute and save a latte in the process, up to $3,000 based on the nicer, newer car you pick. But hurry, this deal's only brewing until the end of the month. I'm Ryan Wasik and I'm your dealer for the people. See all the fresh brewed rides at RyanApproved.com. That's RyanApproved.com.
Credit requires bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Vehicle purchase price determines actual discount. Offer absolutely ends September 30th, 2025.
No big deal, but you've been earning Kohl's Cash for 20 years. That's 2 decades of checkout wins. To celebrate, enter our month-long sweepstakes for a chance to win $200 in Kohl's Cash. Plus, save on fall faves during the Customer Appreciation event now. Yep, 2 decades of Kohl's Cash is a big deal. Shop Kohl's and brag accordingly. Coupon ends September 21st. Select styles. Some exclusions apply. Sweepstakes ends September 30th, 2025. No purchase necessary. 20 winners per day. Limit 1 prize per person for entire sweepstakes. See Kohls.com for official rules and details.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GARAGE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GARAGE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GARAGE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Craving something sweet and fun? The Bubble Tea Shop in Bay City has the perfect deal just for you. Right now, snag a $20 gift certificate for only $10. That's half off your next bubble tea adventure. From creamy milk teas with non-dairy options to refreshing lemonades, energy drinks, and of course, those chewy boba pearls, there's something for everyone. And don't miss their fan favorite shimmering unicorn drinks sparkling with edible glitter. Head over to RocketGrabPlus.com to get yours today.
RocketGrabPlus.com. Why is Macy's one-day sale the one sale you can't miss? For starters, you'll find our best prices of the month on fall's top trends, like $99.99 for trenches and barn jackets, diamond bracelets $249, and for cozy nights in, comfy sheets at $19.99 and under. Plus, it's Star Money bonus days, when Star Rewards members can earn Star Money faster. Not a member yet? Join for free online or in-store. Don't miss Macy's one-day sale today. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on Kiss 107.1.
The views.
It's Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on Kiss 107.1.
This is Kareem, and we're back with more Straight Talk. For those of you who are out there, I certainly want to thank you. I just want to be very clear out there. I'm not sure who Rodney Elledge is. You are not my enemy. I understand that you disagree. And one of the things that I think is very important, that is super important for us to understand at this season, that we have to learn that we can disagree. And empathy would say this. I may not agree with what you're agreeing with. I may not feel the way that you want me to feel, but my feelings have to be genuine to who I am. And so I'm not going to dignify ignorance by addressing it or giving a platform to it. What I will say is that I'm going to continually speak truth to power. I'm going to always encourage people to be the example that Christ gave, that we love all of our fellow Americans, that we love every individual, whether they're Americans or they're immigrants or whatever they are, they still carry the power of the human spirit. That is the most important thing than anything else. I believe that collectively that we are a great people. And I know that there are outliers on both the left and the right. And what I'm going to say to America is this. Whenever there has been a time in our nation when the very rich have wanted to gain additional power, and I say this because this is a very important point. Whenever the very rich has always wanted to gain power, the way that they did that, because there are more folks who are poor, more folks who are middle class, lower class, upper middle class, upper lower class, and lower class, then there are rich people. The very rich people in this nation, they equal 1% of the nation. So if there was ever going to be a time where they said, we want to have rich rule, and they came out and said that we wanted you to understand that you all are undereducated, you don't have any sense. I don't think that poor people should have any say. Rich people, we spend our money to make the government go. We invest dollars in corporations. They'll never say it. But if they did, they knew that 99% of the nation would say that is not something that we're going for. That agenda would fail every time. Hear what I'm saying, America, both black, white, brown, Puerto Rican, yellow, Asian, whatever you are. So what they do, what the very wealth do is they make it an issue of selling tickets to whiteness. They make it an issue about something that was really a social construct. How do I cause division between those who are out there that represent the 99%, I show one that they are better than the other. I speak to one, they're taking your jobs over the other. And I divide the 99%. And when I do that and I sell tickets to this construct, because they've tried everything, they tried every other way to separate us. The two ways that they've been able to do it is by political ideology. I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm an independent, I'm this, I'm that. Or, you know what they do? They use the construct that has worked so well for this nation. They use the social construct of race. They begin by telling us they're not one of us. If you come with us, you're one of us. They're taking your jobs. They're taking your positions. They want your authority. And they otherize everyone else. And they make poor white people feel as though that they are one of them. And many times those same groups of people vote against their own interests because they buy tickets to this social experiment called racial division. And I want to say this to all of my American people out there, and let me be clear. When we realize that regardless of what color we are on the outside, whether you are white, brown, black, or whatever, when we get to the place that we really begin to embrace the ideology and the concept of what this American democracy is supposed to represent, even though this was constructed when blacks were only 3/5 human and we are not considered to be a part of the fabric of what this nation was founded upon, and we've given so much blood, sweat, and tears, I need us to understand something. White America, rural America, urban America, wherever you are from, you've got to understand that when we come together as a nation, we are unstoppable. When we understand that there is an attack on the unity of the 99%. This is about, one of my friends, and we talk all the time, he says, Kareem, I think a lot of the issues that we deal with today are not always about black or white. They're not. They're about being able to feed my kids and being able to take care of my children and being able to have affordable housing, being able to have a roof over my head, being able to go to the doctor that's what this is really about. So don't buy a ticket to this crazy social division experiment called whiteness. It is not about white power. And I saw a group of white men saying, white men rise up, white men fight back. That's not the answer, because it's not the poor black man that's taking your job. It is not that African-American woman who has a bachelor's, master's, doctorate degree who got the position because she's highly qualified. One of the reasons more blacks are in positions of power is because there are more blacks receiving quality education and showing what we have known this entire time, that we are educated enough, that we are smart enough, that we're innovative. And that is what we're saying when we say that we're black and we're proud. It's not a threat against white people, but it's a statement that through all of the disdains and the efforts to dismantle black power, through all of the efforts to destroy and to diminish and denigrate the black spirit, like Maya Angelou said, you can tear me down with your tatter lies. You can make me the enemy with all of your lies, but still like dust I'll rise. That is what that means. It is a sign of we are proud to be who we are. Yes, we've come from the blood of our ancestors. Yes, we were slaves. Yes, we picked cotton. We did all of those things. But when we understand that we too are American, we are American. And I say that to you, Rodney Elledge, you're American. I'm American. Cheryl Walker on here is American. Sharice Steele Phillips is American. Jimmy Green is American. We are all American. And when we understand that we as a people are better, and this is exactly what I was saying. What I was saying was this. We have to understand that there are a lot of people out there who feel like you feel. We have a lot of people out there who think that when white folks are angry and when white people are sad, all America should be sad, sir. That's not where we are. I can be empathetic to the fact that you lost somebody that spoke to you, that spoke what you believed, that you thought was this. Okay. That's how I felt with Dr. King. That's how I felt with Malcolm X. That's how I felt with Medgar Evans. That's how I felt about many of these individuals. White America all of white America didn't cry when those individuals cried. Some of them applauded. Do I think that it's right? No. But I'm saying in the same token, the fact that you want us to be empathetic about what you lost also means that you have to be empathetic of the fact that it does not impact us the same way. Being in America, this great experience, this great test of what it means to have a democracy means that we must understand that we are only our best when everyone's at the table. But Black America, I'm going to tell you, there are many people who are angry. And what I'm saying is that just as we are in a place that we are spending trillions of dollars and building wealth for other individuals, we need to now look inwardly and build wealth in our own communities. We need to make sure that we're getting grocery stores so that we can understand where this food is coming from and eat real food. JFK said this one thing, JFK Jr., that the food that they're feeding us is poison. I agree. But the only way that we can take control of these types of things is invest in ourselves, our ingenuity. We've done it before. We talk about Black Wall Street, but that was only one of a dozen of so many existences of places where we empowered ourselves by working together to make a change for ourselves. I love you all. God bless you all. I certainly thank you for this opportunity in this space. This is about us coming together. This is about us uniting together. But before we unite across lines, we've got to come together as a community. So I thank you all for this time. Thank you for continually tuning in. I want you to take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you. Grace and peace.
You've been listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1. The views and opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen by the host, its guest, or call-ins do not necessarily represent the opinion of this station, the staff, its owners, Alpha Media USA, or its advertisers.
Broadcasting live from the KISS Gower Law Studios. Get the power of Gower. GowerLaw.com.